Nova 1035, good to have you with us. Let's talk to my dear friend Barret Edelstein. Welcome back. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And you? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's nice to chat. Celeb Savant time, and I like your backstory to this interview today. Just to contextualize, if you don't know Barret or what he gets up to, Barret is always, and jump in here, Barret is always at events, watching artists perform, interesting press functions, etc., to basically promote the entertainment industry, right?
Yep.
So where were you when you met our guest on the podcast or for the show today?
So, as we know, the late Johnny Clegg passed away a few years ago, and a couple of years ago, it was the tribute concert for him.
Yeah.
Whole bunch of artists, Karen Zoy, Jesse Clegg. Anyway, I was standing in the Golden Circle and I bumped into this guy, Nick DeCosemo, who turns out to be the chief editorial global director for Mixmag, the founder of SXM Festival, and has so many pies in different elements in the entertainment world. And we got to chatting, which led to me asking him if he would be a guest on the podcast. And so he was. And he was also part of a early group, sort of Freeform 5, where he did vocals on a lot of sort of dance tracks with this artist and producer called Anu Pillay, who was the lead part of the band, so to speak. Anu went on to produce Louis Capaldi and a whole bunch of big artists. And they released music which at the time was end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s, which could not really be categorized into a genre at that time. It was too much of this or too little of that. And the record labels did not know how to promote it or categorize it because they couldn't conceptualize in their brain how it would be rolled out in the music world to the public. And so the whole thing the concept is about being ahead of the curve in whatever you do in life and just being at it, keep going at it. And
it's tough when you're ahead of the curve because people don't understand you. They don't understand you.
I laugh. I don't know if you want to play the clip first or...
Yeah. Let's play the clip and have a listen to what he had to say about that. And then we'll talk about that.
We'd come from quite an underground club background. And people in that world, especially back then, they knew what they liked and what they thought was cool and what wasn't cool.
Yeah.
And then we came up with this album that was kind of like a very cool pop album, but it wasn't pop enough for the pop people, and it wasn't underground enough for the and it fell somewhere in the middle. But we were in this place of like this quite cool, slightly complex sort of crossover pop electronic, don't really know what it was, uncategorizable album. And I think just people they just couldn't wrap their heads around it.
Yeah, interesting. Unless you firmly put yourself into a category, whether it's a color or a sound or a shape or whatever it is, people don't sometimes know how to handle you, right? That's the story.
Well, exactly. And I have this challenge because in my world, I've been told multiple times by many people that my energy and self is 6 months ahead of the rest of the world.
Right.
And it's hugely challenging for me because it's like, why are they not catching up? Where are they? Why are they not getting it? Many times in my life, I've had to think to myself, okay, we'll just be busy until the rest of the world catches up.
It's interesting in a music context. I was watching a video with Sister Bliss from the group Faithless, who obviously Maxi Jazz passed away a few years ago, very sadly. But when they released their first, in inverted commas, album to the record company didn't know what to do with it. They were so far ahead. The sound that they produced, the record company didn't know. It sat on the shelf. The album sat on the shelf. And eventually they went back to the record company. They're like, hey, guys, what are you doing with our music? And they ended up taking it back from the record company and releasing it themselves. So they were ahead of the curve. And you look at a band like Faithless, who were massive in the late 90s, early 2000s in the dance scene, but they were ahead. And people just didn't understand them. They didn't get them.
Yeah, and being in this world of being in that daily is just about trusting yourself, being with yourself and knowing that even though the rest of the world don't understand you and don't get what you're going on about, eventually they will, and then you'll be like, okay, you've arrived.
I know the feeling. A lot of people don't get where I'm at most of the time. I don't know if that's because I'm ahead of the curve, though. I think sometimes I'm just scatty. Listen, you can find Barret on all of the socials. Give us your details.
So it's on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram at Celeb. So that's at CELEBSAVANT. Celeb Savant.
Thanks, Barret. We'll speak to you next time.
Bye.